Hi everybody, Jake here at DmaxStore, and today we're going to be installing the AMP steps on this 2018 GMC Canyon. AMP steps are one of my favorite mods to all these trucks. It really makes it easier to get in and out of the truck. So obviously you can see this is stock height right now. We've got some plans to lift it in the future, but we're just going to throw on the AMP steps right now since we got time. So go ahead and stay tuned to see how exactly these get installed and how they look once they're all done.
We're going to start by drilling out for the rib nut to be inserted. So you're going to go and drill the bottom of the cab here, tighten it down with a ratchet, and then you got your rib nut installed. Next we're going to put up the template after you guys measure it, and then drill the two holes. So we're going to start with a smaller pilot hole and then go larger from there. We're using a step bit here to increase that hole size to get it to the correct size. It's going to be a 21/64. Now we're going to go ahead and put the front linkage bracket onto the rib nut. We're going to go ahead and then install the front linkage. We're going to use a pinch weld. We're going to use the supplied M8 button head bolts and M8 washers. We're going to go ahead and snug those up. And then using the supplied hex flange bolts and serrated nuts, tighten the linkage to the upper mount to the steel bracket assembled in step 4. I'm going to go ahead and then drill out the rear, again using that template, drill out the small hole, and then drill that out to 21/64. And you are going to want to have a nice fresh drill bit for installing this. It is a little bit more difficult when you're using a dull drill bit. Make sure you get a nice fresh one. We're going to go ahead and use the linkage there to actually measure this hole on the back so we can set another rib nut and mount the bracket. And just tighten that rib nut up so it squishes correctly, and then go ahead and remove that. Got your rib nut inserted again. Now you can go ahead and put your linkage in and snug that one up as well. Then we're going to measure a little bit farther back to make sure we can install the lights. We're going to drill out a small hole for those. And it's going to be just directly behind each linkage. So you're going to have one in the front and one in the back so you can see where you're stepping. Go ahead and install the grommet. We like to use a pick tool to get it in there. It seems to be the easiest way to do that. Then you can go ahead and thread your wire through that hole. We do the front one and then the rear one. You want to go ahead and clean the cab with alcohol so it'll get a good adhesion from the two-sided tape that is on the lights. Now we're going to go ahead and put the motor onto the front linkage here. Going to tighten up those two bolts, and then we're going to go ahead and actually put on the board. You're going to see there's two T-nuts in there that you're going to actually attach to the linkage there. Just kind of slide it on, and you're going to put those in place so those two Allen bolts will actually go right up to that board, securing it in place. And then you're just going to want to manually put it up and then take it back down to make sure there's no binding in there. That way you can feel how much resistance there is against that. And then you can go ahead and tighten everything up once you've confirmed that that's good. And then go ahead and tighten up the M8 button head bolts on the front. Now we're going to go ahead and start the wiring. So we got to thread it all the way around the back of the engine on this one in order to get it over to the passenger side. And the module itself, we're going to go ahead and put right in front of the fuse box up here. And then we're just going to zip tie it together, make sure it's nice and secure. We're going to use 2 zip ties just to make sure everything is not going to move around. Go ahead and route this all along the edge of the fender there, and then we're going to go ahead and secure it along the fender and along the back of the hood, following another wiring harness, so it's not going to be in the way of anything. You're going to also have to feed it down the front fender and make sure it comes out so you'll be able to hook up to those motors. Now that you've fed it to the front portion, you're going to go ahead and connect it directly to the motor. Alright, and go ahead and put the motor cover on. This is going to keep all the elements and debris out of here, so you're not going to have any issues with your motor. There's 2 little push nuts that you're going to go ahead and push onto here to make sure that it is installed properly. So you just got to click those in and you should be good to go. And then here we're going to go ahead and crimp on some heat shrink butt connectors that are going to go to the lights. And I'll just go ahead and zip tie the wiring harness up and out of the way next to another one so it's safely routed. I want to go ahead and strip the ends and put those into the butt connectors here. And crimp them. And now to route it into the cab. So we're going to have to go ahead and attach it to the OBD2 connector. So this is all going to be run off an OBD2 for this truck. It makes it pretty easy to install. You're not having to tap anything. Go ahead and connect that wiring harness to the OBD2 connector. Go ahead and plug that OBD2 connector into the port, and you're going to go ahead and put that wiring harness behind that kick panel. Go ahead and zip tie it up out of the way so it stays out of the way of the parking brake pedal. Put that lower kick panel back on, and then we can go ahead and hook this up to power. And you can open the door and make sure they function. This looks like everything is in proper working order. Open up all the doors, make sure they all do work, and you're good to go. Now you can get in and out of your GMC Canyon much easier.